Hello everyone, this is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with another video. This is going to be an interesting one to talk about. A few months ago, I did a movie review on the film Immoral Tales, and there is a small section within this movie. It's something of an anthology, and within this anthology, there is a section called The Beast, where we see this woman in kind of like dressed in like old Victorian garb and stuff. She's looking for her, I believe it was a goat or a sheep or something, gets loose and it goes wandering into the woods and she goes after it. And then she sees this big wolf like creature that ended up, I believe it killed the goat or sheep and was eating it. And then she tried to get away. And as she's trying to get away, the beast is like ripping fragments of her clothes off, like her top is coming off, her skirt is coming off, and everything else. And basically, it gets into this big kind of you know um, bestiality slash. I still need that guy from Clerks too. If I say bestiality, he's in the background going interspecies erotica, fucko. But so anyway, so yeah, that was just a small segment within this movie. But what a lot of people may or may not know is that that was actually a segment from a full length movie, which I actually have here. And the movie that we're going to talk about today is The Beast, the director's cut. Now, written and directed by Walerian Borowczyk. I hope that's the right way to pronounce it, but yes. Anyway, though, this movie here, let's see here. I don't really know if, yeah, you could still have this and watch this, but kind of like the big centerpiece though is in the movie Immoral Tales. But anyway, this movie here, it's kind of interesting. It really it has a very comedic tone to it, and it starts off. We see like we see this man and he's trying to breed horses and stuff like that, and there are these kind of drawn out sequences of this horse having sex with other horses and stuff like that. And this guy's watching them and stuff, and like he's supposed to be getting ready to get married, and they're telling him, you need to come in, we got to get you all cleaned up and everything else. The woman you're supposed to meet to get married to, she's going to be here soon. And this guy's like really hairy, very scruffy looking, kind of dirty looking, and you could tell like he spends a lot of time with animals and doesn't really doesn't really associate with people much. So they take him in and they're like trying to like clean him up. They're trying to clean his hair, shave him, and all this other kind of stuff. And turns out the man's father, I guess you could say, is an old man in a wheelchair. He's a very rich man, and so he's talking to this associate of his, and they're talking about money and all this other kind of stuff. I'm going to be honest with you, okay, and I hope you all forgive me for this. This is not going to be the absolute most coherent movie review I'd ever done, because the reason why, because this movie here is what I have here is the DVD from Cult Epics. Now you could get this on Blu-ray from Arrow Video, and that's probably what I should have done, because see, this is a foreign film, which means it's supposed to be subtitled, you know. And when I watched this movie, there were long sequences where the subtitles just didn't work. So there were sequences in the movie where I'm just kind of like trying to figure out what's going on just from what I'm seeing on the screen. So there's like long dialogue sequences where I couldn't tell you what was going on because I couldn't understand it myself. But so anyway, so they're trying to get this thing arranged where his son's going to marry this girl, and this girl shows up with like her mother, her governess or whatever, and they're all talking and everything else, and talking about they're going to meet him and all this. And so the young girl, she's very beautiful, and we can see these beautiful close-ups of her in this like see-through gown and everything else. She's very beautiful, very lovely. Her body's very gorgeous and everything else. And meanwhile, there's kind of like this little funny kind of sex farce where this one man who's talking to the father in the wheelchair, his daughter is visiting as well. But the thing is his daughter is a white girl, and the main butler servant, he's you know um, African American. Well, not American, but he's a black man, and and they have these two kids, and so they're like constantly, the two of them are like constantly trying to have sex, but they're constantly being interrupted. Like every time you turn around, it's like they're in bed, and she's riding on him or something like that, and keep being interrupted, and so he goes off, and so she's like getting on kind of like the bed frame and stuff like that, like trying to like rub herself, try to get herself off and things like that. And at one point, they have these two kids with them, and at one point, they're on the bed and they're trying to have sex, but he gets called away, so he has to run and leave. And she gets up, starts to get herself dressed, and then she turns out she put the kids inside the closet while they were having sex and stuff. And then at another point, the kids are laying there in bed asleep, and then you hear his name being called. Then the closet door opens. It turns out they were in the closet, and everything else. And but yeah, while all that's going on, and then we come, little bit by little bit. I don't even know if it's like if she's dreaming it or if it's in like a flashback or anything like that. But the one girl, the young girl who's going to marry this guy, she keeps going in, and he's like laying in bed asleep, and it's like she's almost like trying to touch him, but he keeps like turning over. He's making all kinds of making all kinds of noises and stuff and everything else. And you get the sense she kind of wants to, get with him. She's horny. She wants to get laid. And but like I said, I don't know if it's through dream sequences or if it's through like flashbacks or whatever else. And we see this girl here who, then it turns out it's the same section from this movie here, Immoral Tales. We see the whole thing unfold, and it's exactly the same scene from, the same segment from this movie, Immoral Tales, where she goes into the woods, and she goes into the woods and she sees, the wolf creature and all this other kind of stuff. She tries to get away from it. It captures her, and like at one point she's like trying to climb a tree, but she has no underpants on. So the wolf creature comes up and starts eating her out, and as she falls down, and then like puts her up on a rock and starts going on her doggy style and things like that. And just this thing, like, it just keeps shooting cum everywhere and all this other kind of stuff. And like I said, I'm just not entirely sure if she's seeing this in a dream or she's seeing it in a flashback. It's kind of weird. So anyway, but yeah, so she ends up she's getting more and more curious about this guy that she's supposed to be marrying and everything else. And finally she decides she's going to look into it and everything. So she goes and she checks on this guy, and then we find out that she's undressing him and stuff, and then we find out that he actually has a tail, and then we realize that spoiler alert, sorry, I should have said that a while ago, but spoiler alert, that this guy that she was going to marry was actually the offspring of the woman having sex with the wolf monster in the first place. And so now he's kind of like half man, half animal. And this girl, she freaks out and all this other kind of stuff. And then actually I believe he's like, is he dead or something like that, or there anyway, she's freaking out and all this other kind of stuff. And her and the governess, they decide they're going to get the hell out of there. And just all kinds of crazy wackiness is going on and stuff like that. It very much has like a bedroom farce kind of a thing to it going on here, where kind of like everybody's kind of like going from one bedroom to another, all kinds of stuff going on and everything else. But yeah, it's not a bad film. It is definitely very slow pace. It definitely lingers for a while. I do admit that there were times, especially like I said, this is available on an Arrow Blu-ray, which I probably would recommend you probably get that because the subtitles will probably work on that a lot better than they would on this. But yeah, so I mean, when you got like long periods of film that are lingering and you can't understand what's going on, you can't hear what's going on. I admit there were a time or two where I kind of kept using the forward button to try to get to something I could understand, but anyway, though, so yeah, not a bad movie, but definitely this is definitely not for everybody's taste. Um, if you're not into the idea of watching a woman with an animal, then yeah, you're definitely not going to be into this. But it's done in a kind of very tongue-in-cheek, kind of very silly way, and it's I mean, it's watchable and stuff like that. But kind of really, I mean, if you just really want to see that sequence, you could get this, or you can probably just go ahead and get Immoral Tales. It'd probably be about the same thing. But yeah, this one here, it's not too bad, I guess. It's got a couple of funny moments in it and stuff, but like I said, yeah, I got this is the Cult Epics DVD, and like I said, that's the biggest complaint that I have about it is just that there are sequences where like the subtitles don't work, so you can't understand what the characters are saying. So like I said, yeah, if you want to really take a chance on this, I would probably strongly advise that you really just go ahead and spend that extra money and go for the Arrow Blu-ray because they probably Arrow's good for quality, so they probably would have really fixed up the subtitles, so you probably understand that a lot better. But anyway, though, that's it. We talked about The Beast from Walerian Borowczyk. This is the director's cut, and so yeah, it's a certain definitely a movie of a certain acquired taste. But if you're curious or you're into that kind of thing, go ahead and check it out. So you know it's interesting to say the least. Anyway, that's it. I think I've rambled on long enough. I've talked enough about this movie. If anybody took the time to watch this movie, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Um, this is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, and we talked about The Beast, which is just one in a series of the Walerian Borowczyk collection. We still have Love Rights and Go to Island of Love, but we'll get around to those here pretty soon. So anyway, that's it. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.